All right, folks, welcome in JE Live, and we are here on a Friday night. So I appreciate you guys taking some time on your Friday night to spend with me. It's awesome. Just got done with a round full of interviews, draft prospect interviews I did with Alexis, and I think she's live as well right now. But we're live, and we all have a lot to discuss, and well, not a ton to discuss, but a decent amount to discuss in regards to answering the questions that people have been constantly asking me. What's going on with OBJ? Like, is this guy coming back? Like, what's the deal? It sounded like he was going to. Now, who knows? And today, Ian Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show happened to kind of drop some knowledge here and basically said, no, OBJ is not a slam dunk to go back to the Rams, but he is certainly favoring the Rams. The Rams are the leader in the clubhouse. So that is a big thing here. Also today, we had some news that Stephon Gilmore is not going to be a Ram. In fact, he is going to the Indianapolis Colts in a move that I really like for Indy, going out and getting that physical presence on the outside. I think they needed it more than the Rams did. So I think that makes sense. Plus, I've always been of the belief, while I think they could have made both work, I've always been of the belief that Honey Badger made more sense. And Tyrann Mathieu is very much still in play. Nothing is out of nothing is out, right? Everything is still in play here for the Rams. Nothing is a guarantee, but also nothing is done for, so to speak. Jordan Rodriguez did mention, however, that the Rams could, after the draft, they're not looking to do anything before the draft because of the compensatory pick formula, as you guys know, and I've explained this before, but if you didn't know, a week after the draft is when the compensatory pick formula is solidified. That means no matter who you sign, it does not impact the compensatory pick formula, which means that the compensatory picks that you have racked up over the course of this offseason, you're golden. Those are good. They're locked in. No one can take them away from you. However, if you sign somebody now, they're going to count. And so the Colts will lose a compensatory pick because, of the Gilmore signing. The Rams didn't want to be a part of that. And so for that reason, they're waiting until after the draft. And I think this is a smart move. Tyrann Mathieu is in no hurry to re-sign or sign somewhere else. And then I think also with OBJ, you look at the fact that, hey, this is somebody coming off a torn ACL, a second torn ACL. He had a bad, in case you guys don't know what happened, he had a bad surgery where it just didn't go well. It doesn't necessarily mean that Dr. James Andrews, who is very well respected among the industry leaders as the guy, it doesn't mean that he's bad at his craft and all of a sudden he did a bad job. Sometimes there are just bad surgeries, and it did not fully repair the ACL in the way that it should have. And so the Rams basically knew that this was coming. They knew that a torn ACL, a retorn ACL, was on the brink of happening. And so when the team doctors of the Rams, they looked back over and they, went over everything and, they did the surgery. They feel, and this is from Ian Rappaport from the Pat McAfee show, apparently they feel like they added some years on his career. And so that's a good sign, is that OBJ, everything's fully cleaned up now. Really, the sky is the limit once he comes back, but he's not going to be back until likely November. And so for that reason, you would say, okay, the Rams probably aren't making that their number one concern right now because there are guys that they need to play right away or consider, having a decent role to start. Now, here's the interesting thing. The thing that really intrigues me about all this is Jordan Rodriguez mentioned edge, potentially exploring the edge market after the draft. And so I think that's when we're going to see something, whatever goes down, that's when we're going to see it. And so, at the end of the day, you can't just assume, okay, like the Rams will just go out and get Jadeveon Clowney because he's a big name, or Akeem Hicks. Remember when I was, saying that, I think earlier in the week, I said Akeem Hicks doesn't really make any sense because all he really is a big name. He's a very good player, but he's not a need. I think the Rams really do see why Honey Badger would make sense and would allow them some flexibility and some opportunities to utilize other guys. That doesn't mean they weren't interested in Gilmore, which I believe they were, but I do think that Honey Badger is very much in play here. I said about 50% chance of happening. I still think it's 50%. Could go either way here. I think OBJ is more around the 75%. I think there's a really good chance that they're going to be the only team they know the most about his knee because their doctors did the ACL surgery that was required. So they know more about him than any other team in the league. And so for that reason, I think that they are definitely not only the front runners, but they are the team that is most likely to want to buy into him coming off another torn ACL. So, definitely worth mentioning there. As far as Gilmore, guys, I've seen people acting like it's the end of the world. This team's coming off a Super Bowl title. This team is coming off just signing Bobby Wagner in the most unforeseen fashion you could have imagined before the season started because the Rams simply don't pay that position a lot of money. However, they gave him over $10 million per year annually for Bobby Wagner, and so that's something there. And then they go out and they get Allen Robinson. So when we talk about this is a team that has not been afraid to basically trial and error, this is what we're talking about. And so that's why, to me, even if they don't get Honey Badger, I think this has been a successful offseason to date, honestly. It's different, but they got 3 offensive linemen signed on the offensive line. You talk about bringing back Joe Noteboom. I don't think that you can minimize how important that is to this team. I think it also adds upside to Ulrich Jackson, who, in my opinion, probably could have started if they had to have him start, but now he's a very, very good backup that could maybe slide into a guard role if they want to get him out there sooner. On top of that, they bring back their center in Brian Allen, who honestly ends up coming back at a really nice rate. And then on top of that, Coleman Shelton, who played some really good football down the stretch. Then you go out and you add Allen Robinson to the mix, who diversifies your wide receiver room and offers you something you quite honestly have never seen with the Rams, at least since, Sean McVay has taken over. So you have that. And then you go out and you get Bobby Wagner, which wasn't even really a need, but you can do good things with good players. And Bobby Wagner has been the best linebacker in all of football, in my opinion, over the last half decade and maybe the entire decade. He's been outstanding. And so they're getting a guy that's coming off a 170 tackle season. I think he's going to help big time against players like Deebo Samuel that like to get out in space and break tackles and make guys miss. I think that's somebody that will, they'll be effective in that area. And, it's important because when you look at the Rams, once again, they were top 10 in missed tackles last year. That's not going to fly with the Rams. They won the Super Bowl, yes, but they're trying to get better. They're not trying to be complacent. They're not trying to stay the same. It was good enough last year, so let's run it back, right? No, they're not actually running it back because no one in God's green earth should run it back. It's the NFL. It's a copycat league. Teams see what you're doing and that it's working. And the last thing that you want is to take advantage, to not take advantage of that. And so really what it comes down to is this. When you look at the Rams, they go to the Super Bowl and they do it this way, where they trade, F them picks, right? On the other side, you see the Bengals. They're a team that 2 years ago, they're picking number 1 overall and they're getting Joe Burrow. 2 years later, they're in the Super Bowl. They are going the same path that the Rams went through with Jared Goff. And this is not a surprise because Zach Taylor was with that organization when that happened. And I can tell you right now, it was working. Had Jared Goff won that Super Bowl in 2018, it exactly would have worked. But here's the thing. There's nothing different than what Zach Taylor and the Bengals did with Joe Burrow as to what the Rams did with Jared Goff. They took a rookie contract, and so now they have a rookie contract at quarterback, and they just put a bunch of talent around him. That's basically what they did. They're like, oh, well, we're not paying you $50 million like we're going to have to in a few years, so let's take advantage of it now. Let's go out and get Trey Hendrickson. Let's go out and get Von Bell. Let's go out and pay Chidobe Awuzie. And that's pretty much what they did. I was going to say Eli Apple, but I don't know why I would say Eli Apple as an addition. More like a subtraction. But this is the point, is that the Rams have already broke the seal here of, the league now knows how they work. Okay, the league was like, I don't know if I want to do that. That's more their thing. And then they won a Super Bowl. And now everyone's like, wait a minute. Is this the way it's going to be? Are they really going to? All right, let's match. Let's go out and let's, Let's make a big blockbuster trade. And that's what you're going to see. I mean, the Browns made a blockbuster trade to acquire Deshaun Watson. I thought it was a very chaotic trade. I thought it was very reckless. We don't know what the future holds for Deshaun Watson. We don't know how long he'll be suspended. We don't know if that's the end of his lawsuit stuff. But that's not what I'm talking about. My point is that teams now are trying to copy what the Rams are doing. Whether they do it the right way or the wrong way and fail miserably or succeed does not matter. The bottom line is the Rams have caught attention. The predator has become the prey, and now everybody is going after this team, and they're going to try and emulate what they did, and that's what happened. So when you have the Rams on one side and the Bengals go into the Super Bowl 2 years removed from picking number 1 overall, it breathes life back into the entire league as a whole. You have the Dolphins. Do you think it's a surprise all of a sudden the Dolphins decide to go out and get Mike McDaniel, a young offensive mind, a bright offensive mind to kind of revitalize their offense, their team especially, and then trade for Tyreek Hill? Do you really think that was just a coincidence? No. They saw what the Rams, they saw what the Bengals were doing. They're like, we could be that team or those teams. It's that simple. The Colts, they're like, all right, well, we got, at the end of the day, we got Matt Ryan. We got Stephon Gilmore. We got a good defense. We got a great running back, maybe the best in football. We have Michael Pittman Jr., a very underrated wide receiver in his own right. We got 2 developmental tight ends that we really like in Mo Alley Cox and Kylan Granson. A really good offensive line that's going to protect Matt Ryan, who hasn't really had protection in most of his career. And now the Colts all of a sudden feel that way. And it's not just the Colts, because now you look at other teams, and this is the thing. So at the end of the day, they've attracted the attention. This is what happens. Yes, they missed out on Gilmore. Okay. Yes, they've missed out on other guys. Sure. But the Rams aren't staying put. They're not allowing everybody to just pursue and, copy without, having a counterpunch. If the Rams were sitting there with this same roster, say they bring back Von Miller, they bring back their entire offensive line, but they don't get Allen Robinson, and maybe they just trade away Robert Woods. How are they winning a Super Bowl? What was good last year, what was good enough last year isn't necessarily good enough this year. And it's not because Tom Brady's back. Tom Brady was there last year. They had no issue beating him. They've actually had 0 issue beating him. That's actually the thing that makes me laugh. But no, the thing here in that this is why the Rams are invested in getting an Allen Robinson, getting Bobby Wagner, interested in Tyrann Mathieu and Gilmore before he got picked up, is because they realize, look, we got the target on our back. We are the prey. We are the reigning NFL champions. People are going to come at us. But the only thing that you can do here is continue doing what you're doing. Your process is reloading, is adding on, is never being okay. We'll play it safe. No such thing. You're in LA. You can't play it safe. You got the Chargers breathing down your neck. Hell, they just went out. They got Khalil Mack. They have plenty of guys. They went out and they got J.C. Jackson in the offseason. They trade for Khalil Mack. I mean, this is what it comes down to. You have the Broncos traded for Russell Wilson. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, they saw what Stafford meant for the Rams. Now they're like, all right, we're going to be the team. We made a big trade for a quarterback, and now we're going to win a Super Bowl. That's how it works, right? Tampa picks up Tom Brady. They win a Super Bowl. Stafford goes to the Rams. They win a Super Bowl. Denver probably thinks they're about to now. I mean, that's kind of how it works. So I just think, at the end of the day, I understand why people are upset that they didn't get Gilmore, but it's not the end of the world. It's not. And they've already done enough damage, I think, this offseason to the rest of the league where this team is going to be really hard to beat. Now, if you bring back Odell and you bring in, Tyrann Mathieu, going to be a tough one at the office for anybody that goes up against this team. So, that's kind of my opening statement of this live stream, and I appreciate you guys all being in here. It's been a fun off season, eventful. They did something that I would have done that they finally actually did. It's one of those things like I would have gone after Bobby Wagner, but I'm not in the front office. And then all of a sudden, Rams have signed Bobby Wagner. I mean, kind of knew it was going to happen, but, based on what I was told, but I mean, still, it's just one of those things where, I mean, I'm really excited that this team isn't complacent because they're not a sign of a team that just won the Super Bowl and they're going to fall off. They're a sign of a team that really wants to, aka the D word, the dynasty. They want to go after. They want to chase that dynasty, and I think that there is not, there's no reason to assume that they can't do that. Guys, we have over 80 people in here. Appreciate it. Let's get it up in the like department. If you like me, if you like my channel, if you like what I'm talking about, anything about this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. You might have to back out if you're in the live chat on mobile. So be sure to hit the thumbs up. We're at 34 likes now. Let's get that all the way up there. It really does help the channel. Somehow we lost 2 likes. So bizarre there. But, it really does help me out because then YouTube basically just pours this all out on the website, and that's that. So yeah, how's everyone doing? Welcome. That's my opening spiel. I always have one of those, There's always something in my mind. There's gears turning, and then I like talking to you guys. Like, checking the I like checking the comment section. And we talk about everything here, but this is mainly a Ram-centric start to the live stream. I'll talk about whatever. You guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them. But appreciate you guys. What's up, Mike? How's it going? Honey Badger, Gilmore's a Colt. He is. Preston, what's up? OBJ on a 3-year deal. I mean, I would assume it would be a 2-year deal. I don't think it'll be 3, but I would definitely take a 3. Let's see. You think they added edge rusher as well, Jake, in free agency? I won't rule it out. I will say props to the Niners for going out and getting Kamoko Toure. I'm a big fan of Toure. Okay, I understand he's had a rough career, but he's somebody where if he gets enough coaching and, he stays healthy, he could be really good. I think he's going to be a problem. The way the 49ers, implement their rotation, as far as pass rushing, I think they've done a really nice job, getting guys like Arden Key and, Jordan Willis, just, guys like that. Obviously, Ibukam. I think he's another guy that can help them out in that rotation basis that they have. So, that's a guy that I was really targeting. I wanted the Rams to go after. I think he would have been a cheap option, and they go out and they get, of course, Kamoko Toure. Fun fact there, Toure actually, the night before the NFL draft, came on my live podcast back before I had live streams. We streamed the podcast live on Spreaker.com. And right before, draft night, he came on and we did an interview, and it was a lot of fun. So always been a fan of his game going back to Rutgers, but, a fan of him as a person and just getting to talk with him. And I think the 49ers got a good talent as long as he stays healthy. No, he's not Aaron Donald. I saw that post and I absolutely could not believe somebody made a post like that. But I understood what they were going with. They're saying that his hand usage, his quickness, it's very, very impressive. And this is a guy that has a toolbox, a variety of pass rushing moves. 49ers got a good one. He's going to be a problem if he stays healthy. I will say that. So just wanted to throw that out there. Do I think they add an edge rusher, Preston? I don't know. I could see them doing it. I don't think it's going to be Clowney. I think it'll be somebody where a pro scout really sees upside and like a cheaper option. They go out and they get him. I don't think it's going to be a big name, so to speak. What's up, Rand? Hey, Jake, huge fan. Do you think the Rams will have the best defense in the league if they get Honey Badger? Who do you think has the best defense in the AFC? Ooh, okay. All right. I see you. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, if they get Honey Badger, are they the best defense in the league? I still think you got to look out at teams like the Bills. I think you have to look at the Ravens, and I think the Ravens now fully healthy. They're very intriguing there. The Bills, they get Von Miller. I think they have a really good defense. They struggled in that game against the Chiefs, but they typically don't play down like that. Plus, they'll have, in all likelihood, they'll have Trey White back. So I think the Bills are up there. The Ravens, the Broncos have a pretty solid defense. The AFC is a tough one. There's a lot of good defenses. The Colts, we'll see what they do without Eberflus. The Titans with a defensive-minded coach in Vrabel. And then, I see the Chargers mentioned in the comments section. So that's a good question, Ran. I would probably, as of right now, default to the Bills because I just think the Bills they're doing the right thing. They have the right approach. I think they're going to be very nasty next year. But we'll see. I mean, there are teams I'm probably forgetting. Dolphins have a good team on paper. We talked about that. The Patriots spent a ton on their defense. The Jets, interestingly enough. So, there are definitely a lot of teams I'm probably forgetting, but even the Jaguars are kind of interesting. I don't think they'll be great. I don't think they'll be the best, but I think they're intriguing enough to mention. So I mean, the AFC has some interesting defenses for sure, but I'll probably go with the Bills for now. The Chargers could sneak up on me. I was a little bit, I think I was a year or two early on the Chargers, but we'll find out. Let's see. I know it's not popular, but I still believe they get HB and a decent edge rusher and OBJ. Yeah, it's not as popular, but it's definitely something that is being discussed. I mean, there's a chance that they could go after an edge, and Honey Badger, they're still in the mix, and then OBJ is somebody they really want back. So I don't think it's as crazy as many would say. What about Melvin Ingram? He's probably cheap. He's had a few bad years in a row. He was a great pass rusher for the Chargers, but he'll probably be a part-time player based on situation needed. I think Melvin Ingram has played pretty well. Not last year in particular, but the year prior. I don't know for sure if I would say that Melvin Ingram makes any sense because he's not a traditional outside linebacker. He would be more like getting a Morgan Fox. He's more built to be a D end, and they run more of a 3-4 base type defense, a little bit more of attacking 3-4, modified 3-4, multiple, whatever. So I mean, I'm sure he could get in on certain looks, but that's not typically a guy that I would expect them to go after. So I mean, I wouldn't rule it out entirely, but I just don't think that they'll go after him. Jake is speaking facts. Appreciate you, Justin. What's up, Jake? Did you hear what Marshall Falk said about the Rams getting better this offseason? I did. I saw that was shared on the Discord. Guys, you can check out the description of this video, and at the bottom, you can find the Discord link in there. We have 440 members, so be sure to do that. Head on over there. I'll drop the link real quick, and we'll see if we can get some people in the Discord community. It is free also. What's going on, Jake? I'm hearing Honey Badger market is heating up between the Eagles and Rams. That's what I keep seeing. The Eagles are interested. If he chooses the Eagles over the Rams, it's entirely money based because the Eagles are not a better fit than the Rams. I would say that. Colts are a sleeper team. I do agree. Shots fired at applesauce. Yeah. What's up, SG? I'm doing well. Appreciate you loving my YouTube channel. I did mention some Niners talk for you, so I hope you enjoyed that. 100% correct, Jake. They want to be like this, but they don't have the financial backup like we do. Plus, when Stafford retires, we reload with another quarterback and go again and again. And that's kind of my thing, is I think that the Rams are going to surprise a team or multiple teams or multiple fans because I don't rule out the idea that they draft a quarterback. I think if they fall in love with a guy, I'm not saying this year, but I'm saying down the road, if they fall in love with a guy and they feel like they can groom him behind Stafford and they can have him on a rookie deal, maybe they get him 2 years before Stafford retires and they have 3 years, maybe he's a first round pick, maybe he's a second, who knows, and they got, 4 years, whatever, out of him. I mean, we've seen it. There's a code, there's a cheat code here. It's either you go out and you get your Stafford that can win you titles, all of that, or you do what they did with Goff and you build around him and you get better players. And I've noticed that I think both work typically. It's just, Jared Goff couldn't get it done, but I think it definitely makes sense because if you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, you're more likely to be able to spend money on other talent and bring together a roster, whereas if you don't, then you're not as likely. Once again, reminder, please be sure to hit the thumbs up and like this video. We're at 49 likes. I'd like to see that get over 100. Would be awesome. Poor Eli Apple, to be fair, he was one-on-one with Cooper Clutch. That's true, but he did talk a lot. That's the thing. See, the hate that Eli Apple gets is entirely because of how much of an emphasis he made on trash talking before the game and saying that, he was going to, whatever he said he was going to do, he was going to shut down Cup or anybody. It was all brought on him, so I don't feel bad. What's up, Paul? How's it going? Stan? Hi, Jake. This just means our fan base is hungry. We want the best. That's needed to actually repeat. Makes sense. What's up, Nolan? How we doing? OBJ running already? Or rehab team is next level? Yes. Hey, Jake. I bet a lot of teams would like to have a McVay and Snead on their teams. I'm glad we have them on our... Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with you there. This difference, we have an owner who's flush with cash, and when Stafford retires, we will reload at quarterback, have a super team around him. Other teams can't do that. Love all your content. Appreciate that, SG. Love the streams in the channel. Thank you, Riley. Let's see. Just on the treadmill. Okay, I'm seeing that now. Is crazy how we love Stan, but all the fans of his other own sports teams hate him. Yes. I've been on a... what was it? I was on, can't even remember the name of it. I was on an Arsenal podcast because they asked me, they're like, if the Rams win the Super Bowl, does this help out Arsenal at all? And I'm like, I don't, maybe. I mean, it's kind of far-fetched that, but maybe Stan will be more likely to put money into all of his teams if one of them wins, the Super Bowl or a championship or whatever. But yeah, Arsenal fans are very upset about the way, and I get it. I really do, but, no worries, Slim. Appreciate you. Every 4 or 5 years, we will reload. It goes on because we know how to do business and manipulate the cap. That's true. Hey, Jake, do you think we will get Honey Badger and Hicks and OBJ? I don't see Hicks. I see OBJ and Honey Badger's a 50-50 on that. You're the GOAT, Jake. Thank you, Justin. Arsenal fans just mad at the team, always cheeks. Hope we get the Snead, McVay, Donald Cup deals done soon. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I want to see that stuff done. But, we'll see. Jake, do you think the Rams will sign the Honey Badger? If so, when? I'm 50-50. I don't know when, though. I think we're the top team in the NFC. We're picking up players where we were weak last season. I agree with that. We are going to be the new Patriots, win a lot of rings, and have a dynasty for years and years. We'll see. Anything can happen. Injuries can derail anybody, but right now it looks pretty good, I would say. Hi, Jake. Thanks for all the Rams real news. Absolutely, Henry. Hey, Jake, are you going to do a live stream before the draft? Love to see that. Before the draft? I think during it, I'm definitely going to. Before, I mean, I don't see why not. I think the Chargers are tough. I do as well. Why didn't the Rams sign Fowler? They didn't sign Dante Fowler Jr. for $5 million because, well, Dante Fowler Jr. probably wasn't worth $5 million. That was entirely a connection-based thing because he had that connection from when he signed there and Dan Quinn was there. So they probably paid a little bit more than they probably could have, but that's just that. Jake, as we all know, the AFC is stacked right now. Who is your dark horse AFC team? I'm going to say the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, they have an explosive offense. First off, Tua Tagovailoa has to work for this to happen. But even if he doesn't, they do have Teddy Bridgewater. And then I think, you look at the running backs, they have Chase Edmonds, who I think really does a nice job of complementing the other guy, and Raheem Mostert, who has experience in McDaniel's offense. You look at the wide receivers, and obviously the addition of Jalen Waddle last year was huge, and they still have Preston Williams, but going out and getting Cedric Wilson, to take the top off the defense and trading for Tyreek Hill, this offense is going to be explosive. You have Mike Gesicki on a franchise tag. I expect them to sign him. You go out and you get Connor Williams at left guard. You go out and get Teron Armstead at left tackle. No excuse. Got to be able to protect that quarterback. And so now you've really done a nice job of piecing together an offensive line that at one point was a huge weakness. Still don't love their center, but I really do like Robert Hunt at guard. So, I do like what they've done there. And then the defensive side, they've added, plenty of guys there. You talk about having, one of the best two-way tandems in the sport at corner. You talk about Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. I just think that they have so much there. Javon Holland was incredible last year for them as a rookie safety. So, I think they just have a lot of talent here. I would argue that they could definitely upgrade at linebacker, because right now they're going with a Landon Roberts and Andrew Van Ginkel. So I would probably upgrade the linebacker spot. But you look at what the Dolphins have done, and I mean, it's been impressive, honestly. I expect Mike McDaniel to have a very impressive season, his rookie year as a coach, and, potentially fight for, a playoff spot. And I think this is a dark horse team that, if Tua takes that next step, this is a team that could be in the playoffs and do some damage as well. They have a defense to do it. They have veteran corners, very tough corners against any quarterback. And then on top of that, you have that running back committee, those two that can really, complement each other. You have that nasty receiving core and a good offensive line. This is going to be a tough out. This is going to be a team that really has, they're a tough team to bring down. So to answer your question, Scott, I definitely think that right now the dark horse for me anyway is going to be the Dolphins, just based on what I've seen. What team are people still sleeping on? I think the Dolphins. The Vikings, 100% the Vikings. I made a video not long ago about the Vikings being the dark horse in the NFC. I just think when you look at all the talent they have, from top to bottom, you have Kirk Cousins, you have Dalvin Cook, you have Alexander Madison's one of the best backup running backs in the league, and that definitely helps because Cook has had an injury history. So you have that there. Kenny Nwangwu, who helps you in special teams as a returner, whatever you need. He also has some ability. I think he could actually make some plays if he actually got an opportunity. You look at the receiver room. I mean, you have Osborne to go with Justin Jefferson, who I think is going to be wide receiver 1 this year in fantasy. I think he's in for a massive year. It's going to be hard for Kupp to really bring back what he did last year. I don't think it's not realistic for him to repeat that. So I think he'll have a great year, but I think Justin Jefferson is going to be the league's number 1 receiver this upcoming season. And then you have Adam Thielen, who's one of the best route running technicians in the game. You have ISM, Amir Smith-Marset, going into his second season, guy that has good size, 6'1", but also, he can really, with his 4.4 speed, he can take the top off of defenses. You have BC Johnson, so they have some talents there. They're going to get Irv Smith back from injury, so that's something there. They have a decent offensive line, headlined by guys like, you go out and you get Brian O'Neill in the second round out of Pitt, and he ends up being exactly what you wanted. Ezra Cleveland. So, those guys there, but then the defense, they go out and they get Zadarius Smith and they couple him with Danielle Hunter, and you have to like what, the Vikings are doing. And I think that they have a lot of talent, obviously, talking about, guys like Kendricks and, Harrison Smith. And I mean, there are upgrades that they need to make for sure. I'm not super high on Patrick Peterson this late in his career, but I do think that they are going to make it. I think they'll be better coming out of the draft, and they still have pretty much all their picks. So this is a team to watch out for big time. I think that they can beat the Niners. I think they can beat Tampa. I think they can beat the Packers. They're the dark horse team, because I think everyone is focusing on, well, Kirk Cousins can't win the big game. But what I will say is that Kirk Cousins is now with Kevin O'Connell, who has familiarity with him from his days with Washington. He's going to run the similar style offense that Sean McVay ran, that made Kirk Cousins so accomplished in Washington, made him so successful. And so I think with that, I think it gets him right back on the right path. And this is a team where, if you're not ready for them, they're going to take you by surprise. I think the Vikings have a chance to win 11, 12, maybe even 13 games this year, and I won't be surprised if they end up winning their division over the Packers. I don't think they get enough credit. I think Mike Zimmer has had these, people just completely blinded by the fact that this team has always had talent. It's just been poorly coached, and I think now you bring in Kevin O'Connell, and I believe in this team right now. I really do. And I think Kirk Cousins is one of those guys where he's always been kind of unfairly treated. He had an incredible year last year if you really look at it. And when he didn't play at his best, that team was just in a dog pit. I mean, they had no chance when he didn't play at his absolute best. So Kirk Cousins always had to play at a ridiculous level for them to win games. And I mean, you saw a little bit against the Rams. Kirk could definitely, he could definitely compete. So I'm telling you right now, the Vikings are the team that you definitely have to watch out for. We've talked about Tampa plenty of times on this channel. We've talked about the Packers. I really don't think the Packers are that good. I think it's entirely just they have Rodgers, so I can't say no to them. But I think the Vikings just aren't getting enough respect. And so I'll continue to pound the table for them. I'm not saying they're going to win the NFC, but they're definitely a dark horse. I wouldn't be surprised if they see the Rams in the NFC title game. I do think it's going to be Rams-Niners, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being Rams-Vikings. So we'll see in that regard. I guess Gilmore wants to watch us win 3 straight Super Bowls from his couch. To be fair to Gilmore, the Rams had an opportunity to acquire him at the trade deadline for like nothing. And I mean, they spent more on Sony Michel than the Panthers did to acquire Stephon Gilmore. So, I mean, they had an opportunity, they definitely had an opportunity to get him. They chose not to. And then this offseason, they had dialogue and they didn't, I'm not going to blame Gilmore for making a decision. I think the Colts are a good fit. I think they're a team that, they were probably a Stephon Gilmore away last year from being in the playoffs. So, I think it makes sense for him. I'm not going to hate on him for that. Dante Fowler's super cheap after the draft. I feel OBJ, if healthy, is better than Robinson. If his knee is right, he is a deep threat. I mean, he's more than a deep threat, though. A deep threat really isn't much. It's what he does playing above the rim at 5'11". He's a guy that he acts like he's 5'11", but he thinks he's 6'3", the way he plays. OBJ is incredible, so I'm excited for him to be back for sure, but I mean, we'll see how long it takes, and we'll see if he's back with the Rams. Jake, I see you wearing Jayhawks championship t-shirt. You got that right. Shout out to my Aunt Pat for sending it to me. I got a Jayhawks championship hoodie that's taking forever to come in. Gee, I wonder why, fanatics. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens, right? When your teams win a championship, you buy the merch. I'm a sucker for that. I think us Rams fans are blessed that you're a Rams fan. Imagine no Jake. I don't know what I'd do. That's really nice. Young and Isaac, that's really nice of you to say that. I'm glad that I'm a fan. I've followed them for years, regardless of how bad they were. I felt like it's just different watching Rams for me. Different than any team. I think the only team that can even come close to me getting those heartstrings tugging on me when my team is losing or my team is in jeopardy. Like, I got that feeling with Kansas. When Kansas and UNC were going at it, I got that feeling with Kansas. Kansas came close. That game could have gone either way. So I got that feeling with Kansas. When the Bengals, it came down the wire, Bengals and Rams, I got the feeling with the Rams. I'd probably get the feeling with the Yankees in Game 7 of the World Series. But would I get the same feeling with the Yankees in, any game? No. But like the Rams, Jayhawks, I do get that feeling. I want them to win the regular season game, a tournament game, whatever. So, I just think at the end of the day, they're special. They mean more to me than just a team. Like, right now, this is my job. Like the money I make off of YouTube right now is basically supporting me as it stands, because I've had some other things fall through. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible that the Rams have become that much. Obviously, I've said I'm trying to kind of distance myself from being just a Rams channel. That does not mean I don't cover the Rams. And I think some people just didn't get the message when they, unsubscribed. I got like, what was it, -10 subscribers yesterday or whatever. I'm like, man, You guys are fierce, ferocious. I don't talk about the Rams for one video and people are unsubscribing, but it is what it is. But no, I really appreciate that, Young and Isaac. It really means a lot for you to say that. I like the Yankees in baseball, Michael. Are we not getting new uniform anymore this season? I guess they're gonna wait until 2023, and my guess is if they wait until 2023, it's because the helmet shell can be changed, which kind of tells me that the only way that they would change the helmet is probably for black, which they've already created as like a fan helmet, so to speak, memorabilia, whatever. So I could totally see them going with a black uniform next year and a black helmet with like the yellow horns. That's what I think is going to happen. So we'll see. But that's kind of what I'm expecting now. I think that's what's going to be out of it. But Gilmore really chose to play with Darius Leonard and Buckner over AD and Ramsey. Here's the thing, guys. I don't think the Rams were that in on Gilmore. Okay, basically what I learned from what I was told is that they want Matthew more than Gilmore. Gilmore they reached out to. I think Matthew they're slow playing. I think they're going to go after Matthew and pursue after the draft. But I don't think Gilmore turned them down. I think he had one offer from the Colts, and that was that. Jake, will you do a stream on the draft like you did last year? Yes, I'm planning on doing that. The GOATs are his number one priority. Is Dion is still a free agent? Yes. Stan Kroenke almost bought the Dodgers. Stan and Les Snead, best duo. As I say, Jake, we are the new dynasty of football, just like the Patriots, and win a few more rings. We'll see. I hope so. I feel good about it, but obviously we've seen sports stories not go as well as you would think. Be honest, how are repeating chances? I think that they're pretty high, honestly, because I think they're by far the best team in the NFC. I think that the NFC West right now is in peril of not being good. I mean, you're really looking at the Niners at this point as the only competition, because the Cardinals, there's a chance that they don't even have Kyler Murray. And Seattle, I'm rooting for Drew Lock. I hope he proves the naysayers wrong, but I'm not expecting much behind that awful offensive line. And I just think Pete Carroll, the game has passed him by. I don't think he has not gotten with the program. And a lot of the draft picks that the Seahawks have made that have been really questionable, they have been Pete Carroll's doing. So, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I think the Rams have a pretty good chance. You saw Sonic 2? A Sonic universe, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I played those games back in the day, and I don't know. I'm not really that interested. I think the only one I really liked, what was it, Jet? Was it Jet and Sonic? Yeah, I think Jet was the one that I liked. I don't even remember what game I was playing, but it was Jet from Sonic Riders, I think it was. And that was probably my favorite. It was like a bird. It honestly kind of looked like the Jayhawk a little bit, but it was green. That was my favorite. So I don't know if they're going to incorporate Jet at all, but that'd be cool if they did. Denver Nuggets hate Stan? Yeah, so I've heard. Idris Elba is great in everything he does, yeah. Jake, I think the dark horse that can beat the Bills could be the Vikings. What do you think? Yeah, I think if the Vikings get past the Rams, they can win the Super Bowl. It would be a little bit surprised because they're not used to it, but yeah, I could see that. Let's see. Biggest threat to the Rams, Jake, in the NFC. I'm going to say the Vikings because the Vikings had the familiarity. They know how Sean McVay works. Their head coach was literally under Sean McVay for a few years. And, I think the Niners is just, it's typical answer for that question that I'm not going to go with them. Plus, there's uncertainty about the quarterback and Debo and, and then the Packers. I mean, the Packers, I guess, in a sense, because the Rams can't beat them, or they haven't been able to beat them. But not Tampa. Not Tampa. Nope. A-Rob and Cinco Mode going at it. Didn't Minnesota draft a quarterback? Yeah, Kellen Mond. That was the previous regime, previous GM, previous head coach, previous OC, previous DC. I don't know. It's fanatics get together and sponsor the channel. Appreciate you, Nolan. Nolan, you're right. I don't know why. I think people just love seeing deep threat. Like, no knock on anybody, but I mean, you would think a deep threat is a legit position the way it's talked about among Rams Twitter and Rams fans. I mean, they don't need one because Van Jefferson literally did that last year at a crazy rate, but no one really talks about it. He had over 800 yards in the second season, was top 7 in yards per reception. Plus, you have OBJ, you have Tutu Atwell, Jacob Harris, Allen Robinson. A deep threat isn't just somebody who runs fast. A deep threat is somebody that is literally a threat deep down the field. So it could be anything. Cooper Kupp is technically a deep threat because he's a threat deep down the field. We've seen it. It's kind of one of those overblown, I don't know. A field stretcher is more so, I think, what people are trying to think of. Like when they think of deep threat, they're talking about field stretcher. Like a guy that can go down the field, all of a sudden he gets the attention of the two safeties or the corner or whatever. Opens up the opportunities down low. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. What you think will happen when Kroenke passes away? Does his son or whoever take over and keep the money in Rams? A little very morbid actually. But I get what you're asking. You're asking like his next of kin. I mean, I would imagine because the Rams are going to be very valuable. That's why they went to the LA market. So since they're going to be very valuable, yeah, I would imagine that the son doesn't want to sell away the inheritance, just like the Steinbrenner brothers don't want to sell away the Yankees. I mean, they should. The Yankees should absolutely be sold. I don't think they have good management at all. What is it? The president or the vice president of operations, Randy Levine, is a joke. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, not to get political, but if you're a Yankees fan at the time when Donald Trump becomes president, and you hear that Randy Levine is like a favorite to be in his cabinet, you're praying to God that Donald Trump is gonna get Randy Levine in his cabinet. Okay, this is the guy at what was it? I can't remember. The arbitration. If you guys heard that story about arbitration, there was a pitcher by the name of Dellin Betances. He was one of the best setup men in the league. Not a closer, but a setup man who pitches either the 7th or the 8th inning, right? And Dellin Betances, basically arbitration's like baseball court. I don't like it. I don't like how you have to sit there and basically, yeah, the player and the agent argues this is how they should get paid. And then, the MLB teams are like, no, you shouldn't get paid this. I mean, it was such a bad, like Randy Levine. This is what it was. I'm going to make sure I have this quote correct. So, okay. Let's see. What his agents did was make him a victim of an attempt to change a market price in baseball that has been well established for 30 to 40 years. I feel bad for Dellin that he was used in that way by his agent. That's Randy Levine, okay? He's trying to act like he's the good guy. He is not the good guy here, okay? Like the GM, the agent fired back with regards to Dellin. Murray said, according to a report from Fox Sports' Ken Rosenthal. It was very ironic to hear the Yankees president express his love and affection when he spent the only portion of the hearing to which he contributed was calling this player by the wrong first name. It is Dellin for the record. So we got the president of the Yankees who doesn't know his own player's name. If you guys remember, this does not go in good company, by the way. Because the last time this happened on this, grand scale, do you remember who that was by? I'll give you a hint. We talked about Kirk Cousins earlier, and I feel like we bring up Dan Useless Snyder all the time. So, Anyway, the point is, Dan Snyder, if you guys don't know, he called Kurt Cousins, and clearly it was on purpose. Randy Levine, the Yankees president, called Dellin Betances, Dalen or whatever he called him. It was not his name. So, again, just lack of respect for a player that's already there. It is Dellin for the record. He then proceeded to blame Dellin for the Yankees' declining ticket sales and their lack of playoff history while trying to bully the panel, saying something to the effect that the sky will fall if they rule for the player. He added the only person overreaching in this entire situation is Randy Levine himself. He might as well be an astronaut because nobody on Earth would agree with what he is saying. Even the others in the room would disagree with him. Nonetheless, as Dellin has done throughout his career, he will continue to be a professional and an outstanding member of the community, no matter how the team president views him. It was really ridiculous. The way he ripped, Levine said the Yankees' main beef with Murray's argument was simple. Betances isn't a closer, he's a setup man. Levine said that he deserved to be paid as a setup man. Elite closers get X amount, that's the top. Then there's a pyramid and it goes down. It's based principally on the ninth inning and saves. Dellin has been great, but that doesn't have the statistics in the ninth inning or the saves. He just doesn't have it. At the end of the day, it was obvious that he was not getting $5 million unless it was a total fluke. Betances should be happy, Levine said. He added he doesn't believe there should be animosity between the Betances and the Yankees. He said the meeting wasn't that contentious. We love Dellin. He's great. At the end of the day, if Dellin is upset about going into a hearing, now he knows the result. He should have talked to his representatives and said, why did you bring me in here? What is the point? I should made a deal. It was obvious. So basically, this guy, Randy Levine, is an asshole. I mean, that's really what he is. And the reason I bring this up is because, and I don't even remember how we got here, but we were talking about Randy Levine, and we were talking about how I wanted Donald Trump to put him in his cabinet because I just didn't want Randy Levine being the president of the New York Yankees. This is a total idiot. He's a pompous ass. He and Dan Snyder are cut from the same cloth. They really are. I mean, you constantly have this. I understand baseball players make a lot, right? But everyone forgets about arbitration. Arbitration is like baseball court, and you have to go through it, and you really have to pay your dues before you get paid that big deal. So you have to prove. And I mean, it was just a really bad, it was a really bad look, I thought, by Randy Levine, who is just, I mean, he looks like such a sleazeball. I mean, it's just like, he is absolutely one of the, oh, I remember now, because I was talking about, okay, would Kroenke sell, and I think the Steinbrenner should sell, and then Levine, and, all the issues up top, yeah, so I just think that, there's too many guys out there that are just ridiculous, I mean, during that whole thing when Randy Levine said what he said, what was it? He compromised for the fans. You know, it's like, man, shut up. Just shut up. And I'm so tired of that. Tired of not necessarily every owner's like this, but I'm tired of the owners that just don't respect their players. At the end of the day, Debo has to know that not every Niners fan is calling him those names. I don't think he really cares. I mean, let's be honest here. As much as we love the Ramley, right? You know, the Rams fans, the Rams fan base. There are plenty of people that we would never side with because they are not good people. Just because they like the Rams doesn't make them good. It's the same thing with the Niners. I'm sure Niners fans, if anybody's in here, not every Niners fan is a good person. Not every football fan is a good person. And so if I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but if you yourself go into into the DMs of a player and you start cussing at him and saying racist things and sending death threats over football, then you, my friend, actually it doesn't have to be over football, just in general, you, my friend, are not a good human being. You're just not. I don't think this is much of an argument. But what Debo's going through, I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Nolan, the Randy Levine rant was real, wasn't it? But you know, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous, you know? And so yeah, I feel for Debo. That's unacceptable. And it has to feel like a little bit of betrayal, but at the same time, you know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting into. It's like these players, anybody who's in, you know, the pinnacle of a spotlight, they know what they're getting into. Just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean that that doesn't happen. So, I mean, you don't understand. Since betting has become so big with sports, you have these degenerate gamblers that are now literally betting. They're taking a mortgage out, you know, for their house, and then they're not able to pay it because of all of their bets. They have these people that have these betting issues. I'm not making fun of addiction. I'm not. But I'm just saying you have these degenerate gamblers out there that will literally get so mad about their parlay not hitting that they wish death on players. And then it doesn't just stop there. They literally go out of their way. They go out of their way to go into their DMs and like say racist things at them and say that like and then start doxing them on the internet. I've seen that too. You ever see that? Athlete doesn't do what the guy wants. You cost me. It was supposed to cover. Look, I'm a betting guy. Okay. I had some bets in tonight. I'm pretty sure I didn't win any of them, but I mean I bet. It doesn't give me the right to go into somebody's DM because, you know, my bet didn't hit and just cuss them out and send death threats and dox their you know, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah, I don't think I won. I don't think I lost the first one. Oh, we got Winnipeg and Florida over. We got Pelicans Clippers over 214.5, and I had the Cavaliers. Apparently that's live right now. I don't know if they're gonna win. I took them the money line, but that, I mean, the more you know, right? Well, Nolan, I do agree with that. Every fan base does have bad apples in it, but I mean, it doesn't make it any like there's no excuse. You shouldn't ever act like that. It's just ridiculous, you know? Just not cool. So, oh, the Yankees and Orioles are tied 1-1 in the top of the ninth in Baltimore. The Orioles are 1-5 and the Yankees are 4-3. Yeah, I hope they don't lose to the freaking Orioles. But hey, that's what happens when you give Judge a day off and you take out Trevino after his game and you put in Hicks and Gallo. Combined, what? Let's see, 1 for 6? Awesome. You gotta love it, right? I know. How are you guys even doing it? because I think she's live right now, if I'm not mistaken, or she was. But yeah, don't excuse the behavior. No, I agree with you. What else you guys want to talk about while we're on here? LeMahieu strikes out swinging. Bummer. Oh, the Hawks Cavs. I'm going to lose that bet then because I had the Cavs money line and it looks like the Hawks are up 104.99. Bummer. But yeah, am I going to sit here and be like, Trae Young, I'm going to send you death threats because you ruined my bet that I would have won $60? $66 on a $10 bet. I mean, it goes back to what Nolan was saying. You know, when people are like, "Oh, I don't bet against Tom Brady." He's like, "All right, how much are you betting?" Betting $10, betting 20, you betting 30. How much you bet? Recap. Gilmore is a Colt. I'm not worried. The Rams are still in play for Matthew. OBJ is the Rams are the leader in the clubhouse for OBJ. I had a Randy Levine rant, which you probably are glad you missed. Talked about why the Vikings and the Dolphins are the league's dark horse teams, and now it's brought us to this moment. You are all caught up. Yeah, right? It's always funny. And it's not like you parlayed, I don't bet against Tom Brady. It's not like you parlayed that. You're going to get what? It'll be minus 120 odds. Something. I don't know. This decade? I mean, I would hope so. I think that they're definitely equipped for that. I don't like the Clippers, but I gotta say, why are we testing for COVID right before the postseason? Can you explain that to me? Like I said, I'm an unbiased participant in this. I don't like the Clippers. I'm not siding with them. But why are we doing COVID tests on April 15th, right before the playoffs? Now you have this guy, and again, you have this guy now, and I'm not saying, oh, well, what's the he should be playing with COVID, but why are we COVID testing right now NBA players still? Right before the playoffs. Paul George came back from like a torn UCL or whatever, torn shoulder, whatever. He's been gone for almost the entire year. He came back just in time to make a run for the playoffs. They're now in the play-in game, and you're telling me they have a one-game play-in game, and that's it. And he can't play. I have issues with that. And I don't even like the Clippers. But that just irks me, man. Like, why does that piss me off so much? I genuinely hate the Clippers. And I'm actually mad for them. I'm mad that they didn't get a fair chance to play. I don't know. I think it's BS. I'm curious to get your thoughts, though. Sticking with the NBA. What are your thoughts on Zion Williamson? Because, I mean, here's the thing. I think Zion is very talented. But I tend to agree with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. I know it sounds crazy, but he's overweight. Like, he looked like 300 pounds in that video. I don't care that he could do a 360 dunk. He looked like 300 pounds in that video. And I think that's a concern because you have that much weight on you. It's going to hurt it's going to put your feet in jeopardy in your knees and your legs, and eventually you're going to put yourself in a bad position. So, you know, I just I don't have a good feeling about Zion long term if he doesn't get his habits together. He's played what 150 games in 3 years, and when he was playing, what you guys may not know is when he was healthy and he was playing, he was the most dominant paint player in the game. He was averaging more points in the paint than anybody in the league at 19 points per game. They legitimately could not stop him. So, you know, like, what is the deal here? Does he want to be in New Orleans? Like, is that a thing? Is it maybe that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans and so he's not really giving a crap? Or is he genuinely just making poor choices? And I don't know what to believe. I mean, you have this incredible talent. We know what Zion Williamson can do. I understand he's got haters out there. I understand people don't like him because there are people that don't like him. He went to Duke. They're I get it. They're justified. But I do like him. And I do think he's very talented. But I mean, dude, the last time you were healthy, you were averaging 27 points per game, which is 8th in the league, 7.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and you were 4th in player efficiency rating in 2020-2021. And now here you are in 2022. And what? He's been cleared for one-on-one work. Well, why is he not? I don't know, man. He's listed at 6'6", 284. He's over 300, man. I don't know. I think Williamson is a great, great talent, but I'm definitely concerned that he's not going to amount to what he could be. I mean, just think about that. 27 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 27.17 PER, which is 4th in the league in player efficiency rating. Like, we're looking at an all-timer type of guy. He's 61.1% from the field. I mean, I'd like to see him get his free throw percentage up, and he doesn't block a ton of shots, but, it's just crazy. Take care, you gotta take better care of yourself at the end of the day. You just have to. And right now, I just don't think Zion is he's not in good shape right now, which is disappointing because when you have all that talent, people forget, when it comes to being an athlete, you only have this amount of time. So your lifespan is the whole length of this, right? It's the whole width of this camera. But being a professional athlete is about this much of your life. But it can matter across all of it because of how much money you can make. How you can set yourself up for literal generational wealth. That's why I don't understand why these guys don't take it seriously when they don't. And so you have that talent. I don't know, man. I do not know. But yeah. It's been a Friday night. We talked about all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to ask you guys to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys soon. I'm going to head on out, and hopefully we get some news soon. But I'll be on soon. So that is going to be it for me tonight. So appreciate you guys hopping on, spending your Friday night with me, talking some ball, whether it be football, basketball, even some baseball. And you survived my Randy Levine rant, which was very long overdue, but that is going to do it. So Appreciate you guys. You can follow me at JKBogan. You can check out all of our content on this channel at the Downtown Rams content. You could also go at Downtown Rams on Twitter, follow us there. And also you can follow me on Instagram, which I would be more than happy to have you do. It's at JKBogan as well. So until next time, you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys soon. Later.